Hello, I'm Sean Richards of Not a Yes Man's Economics, and what I'd like to talk to you about today is the concept of a parallel currency. Now, I suppose the opening question that you have with that is, why would you do it? For example, those of you watching in the United States, I'll be thinking of a situation where you have the dollar, you have control over it. As it happens, you're also the reserve currency for the world, so that gives you even more power. I suppose people individually might want more of it, but in terms of more money, but as a collective, it kind of works. The latter point, though, of wanting more of it is where this has come into play recently. This has come in the situation of Italy in Europe, and why has Italy been thinking of it? There's various factors that come into play here. One is that Italy has found itself in a group currency, the euro. That has its gains, but it also has its disadvantages. Total number of euros is outside of its control. In terms of interest rates, it has a vote in the proceedings, but it is in general outside its control. And of course, particularly here, there's the issue of the exchange rate of the euro, which if you look at it, you would say that is much more suited to the economy of Germany than it is for Italy. So there's various routes there. The next factor that comes in is that, contrary to the promises of when the euro started, Italy has struggled in terms of economic growth. If we look at it, say, relative to Germany, it was supposed to get near it. That was the idea sold by the euro founders. The economies would converge. Who's everyone thinking of at that point? Germany. Italy hasn't done that, though. So now political parties are looking around thinking of, what's the way around this? They feel like the euro, to some extent, is a straitjacket. There are restrictions there. But they'd like some more economic growth. So this is where the idea of a parallel currency's come up. How would that work? Well, their idea is to put it under what they call BOTs, which is treasury bonds, except that these would be notes, okay. They wouldn't pay any interest, and they'd last forever. If you think about that, what I'm describing is a banknote, what we'd normally call cash, pretty similar. There'd be some restrictions on its use, though, which is where they're hoping to avoid the issue, of course, that you're only really allowed one currency in the euro area, which is the euro. That's the point of it. So you'll be able to use the new currency, for example, only in transactions with the government or state-owned bodies. This leads to a few problems, though. For a start, the euro authorities don't like it very much. Mario Draghi, the European Central Bank, in a way he would be the person most against this because his job is to defend the euro, pointed out that it would be illegal if you consider these things to be money. And then on the other hand, if it's debt, or you just add it to the total debt and it doesn't make any difference. So there, he sort of signalled the swerve behind this sort of plan, which is an element of having your cake and eating it. So you can sort of have more money, but then not have more debt. That's the sort of route that they're planning at, hoping that it'll escape one way of being counted. So in essence, you could say that you have a money supply out of the euro, and then you get a bit more. So like icing on the cake, if you want to continue with that analogy. But of course, then everyone else would want the same. And from the point of view from the euro, their fears that this sort of situation could lead to Italy maybe leaving, which some people proposing this would think that. So as you can see, there's quite a bit in this. Times when we've seen these things actually come into practice are not exactly a clear guide because they're usually from countries that are in trouble. For example, the Ukraine had this situation as well as Irvina. Lots of people used US dollars. It's not exactly the same situation, but where you have two currencies at once, that caused a lot of trouble. Usually, the idea of two currencies in a country is a sign of trouble, actually, and that's the problem. If we were to go back right to the beginning here, this is the idea of Italy being a girlfriend in a coma, not really being able to grow, and whilst this might help a little bit, I doubt it would solve it. Thank you.